And I don't know, Bruce or Kimberly, whichever of you is running the meeting today. We still have a lot of people joining, so I don't know if you want to give it another minute or two.
I think that's probably a good idea.
I don't know if everyone's seen this, but Google Hangouts now has a new feature where if you click on the three dots at the bottom right of the screen, one of the options says use a phone for audio. You can actually have have Google Hangouts call your phone. So if you're one of those people that uses both the Hangout screen and your phone, you can make it a little easier to get signed in by doing that. That way you don't have to dial their number and put in the PIN.
That's great. I love that feature on WebEx.
It's very handy.
Daryl, are Cindy and Nancy on yet? Have you noticed? And or Nancy?
Nancy's here.
Hi, Nancy. How about Cindy?
Good morning.
I don't see Cindy yet.
Okay.
I heard her.
What's that?
Cindy, you on? Let me IM her. Hang on.
Okay.
I've got 3 after, and it looks like it's the trickling in has slowed down. So if you want to go ahead and get started, I think we're safe.
Yeah, that's fine. Nancy, you can carry on, I assume, without Cindy until she joins?
Yeah, she's on the web part, but we can't hear her, so she's dialing in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes
right,
it works, sometimes it doesn't for us.
Okay. Okay. Nancy, do you want to take it away with the review of the schedule and, well, your 3 items, review of the schedule, review of placed orders, and status of installs?
Yeah, let me pull up the schedule. Cindy's actually the keeper of the schedule. We assigned one person to do it so we don't have too many cooks.
Good morning.
Oh, there she is. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
I was just pulling up. Hi. I was just pulling up the migration schedule. That's the first topic. Is just to review that real quick.
Okay.
This is Daryl. What I have on the screen is our version of the schedule. So if there's anywhere where it differs from what you have, I'll try to update it now.
Daryl, do you have the one I sent out on Friday?
Cindy, can you mute one of your items, maybe your computer? You've got a bad echo.
Yeah.
How's that?
I did. I don't recall that had. Yeah, that's good. I did receive that, but I don't recall that it had migration dates on it.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I think it just had the testing date, but not the actual cut date.
Right.
Okay. Let me.
In fact, I can pull it up too because I've got it in our working documents. Right. I think previous versions of this that we'd received did have the cut date as a column, but this one has the equipment install, the pre-migration test date, and that's it.
I must have removed the wrong column. Hang on. Let me resend this one to you. Let me just make sure it's the right one.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Daryl, I can update our discussion items ESInet schedule so you're not toggling back and forth while you pull up her recent document if you would like.
Sure, that'll be great. Thank you.
Okay. Here, Daryl, let me just send this to you real fast.
Okay.
And then, let's see, I could probably share it if you want me to.
Are you going to share it, you said?
I can if you want me to. I can figure out how sharing works.
It's up to you. I'm still waiting for it to come through my email. Sometimes it takes a little while. As soon as I could get it, I could share it, or if you want to, you can.
I'm trying to share now. So let me see if everyone can see it.
I can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great. So not a lot of changes. Adams County and Aurora, we're still pending the circuit repairs, estimating end of month still for those. Broomfield and Westminster I've left on the active tab because we have one task left there, which is moving the alley links. We're ready to move those, but we had a bit of a freeze with our Entrado team because of some stuff going on with them this week. So as soon as they get lift that freeze on changes, which we think will be the end of this week, early next week, we'll go ahead and get the alley links moved for Broomfield and Westminster, and we'll be 100% done there. Fremont County is the one change. We're going to need to reschedule them. We had some items when we went to do the install that weren't quite complete. So we're working with them to get some twist blocks installed there. And then we have to take a 66 block up there and install that before we can complete the pre-migration testing.
So
we're hopeful we can get the 66 block up there on Friday. So we're hoping we can get the power issue resolved fairly quickly, and we can put them back on the calendar, hopefully even as early as next week. But just need to coordinate with the teams there on those dates.
So Cindy, this is really concerning because this is information that when we spoke on Friday, this was pretty much ready to go. We had a question about the demarcation and where that circuit came into the building, but everything else we understood to be complete. So was
We
the
did
66?
too, and we had on the site survey, the power and twist locks were identified as available, but when we got up there, they were not.
Okay, and what about the 66 block? So power's on the PSAP authority, the 66 block. Question, what's going on with that?
The 66 block has never come up before, so I'm not sure what the issue was there.
This is Kevin Newton.
Yeah.
When you have a PGM, and I had conversations with the vendor for Fremont County, and I didn't know how a PGM wired out. Seemingly, if you have a PGM, Intrado will install a 25 pair going to the wall and install a 66 block. And that's the new demarcation point for a PGM. So they didn't bring it.
Okay.
That's being fixed, and like I said, they're ready to take one up there Friday.
Was the plan always for this PSAP to go PGM, or did that change in the process? Because I thought that our notes had indicated that they were going to do direct SIP.
They've always been PGM on my schedule, but...
Okay. Did CenturyLink correct the demarcation and the extension and where their circuit is compared to our discussion on Friday?
Yeah, we sent the tech out to locate and tag the circuit. Nancy sent them out, and then had them, I think Nancy show the PSAP director where that circuit terminated to.
Yes, that was done first thing Monday morning.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions on Fremont?
Sandy, you said you might be possibly putting them back on the schedule next week. You mean actually migrating them next week, or that's when you'll be able to get them on the schedule?
At least pre-migration, we're hoping for. It kind of depends on how early in the week we can get pre-migration done as to whether we could do both next week. But there certainly is, right now, time to put them both, to do both. But if we could get one completed, say Tuesday and the other Thursday. But it really depends on when we can get the power confirmed.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Cindy, this is Brian Kelly with Converge One. May I ask you guys shoot us over an email from a responsibility perspective once that block is in, what needs to be done from that part? That's so we have a clear understanding of what we may or may not need to do. There is available pairs and facilities going from the DMARC. They're already in place up to the dispatch floor. So given that we've got a little bit of work to do there, we would just like a clear understanding of what we need to do to help the customer.
Absolutely. And I actually had a meeting with the team last night, and I was going to put a meeting on today, Brian, with your team and mine, just to make sure we had walked through everything and knew exactly what needed to happen and who was doing it, including the pre-migration testing, since this is the first PGM one. Walk through that with all of your folks in mind.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay with you? Perfect.
Moves to I feel in medicine as an
okay.
example.
So if there are no other questions, I guess we can move on from there.
On that patient stays in.
So next up is Weld County. We're working on the CPE setup there right now and completing that. We're scheduled to do their pre-migration testing tomorrow. And I will say that in the interest of the current environment we're in, I'm trying to work closely with each of these PSAPs to verify access and procedures as we're coming up to these dates where we need people on site. So expect we'll be reaching out to you just to make sure that we still can get access and verify if there's any special procedures we need to follow in accessing your facilities. But the techs were up there yesterday working on the CPE firewall and configs. There's some additional work that needs to be completed there, but we should be ready for pre-migration tomorrow and then migration of the main site on the 25th.
Hey, Cindy. This is Marie with Weld County. I thought we had for the 25th, not the 26th.
It's the 25th, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have to.
Any other questions on Weld?
Did you look at today? I can. That month.
Okay.
To see how many records they've reviewed.
So next up is State Patrol Alamosa. The equipment install is going on up there today. And then they're scheduled for pre-migration testing on the 31st. I have that one in yellow simply because they were working on an upgrade on their CPE as well, I believe. And so I'm just watching that one to make sure that comes through in time to do the testing on the 31st.
And that PHP development.
Okay. Do you have anybody from State Patrol on the line? Do you have any questions?
This is Robert. I'm not aware of an upgrade to Solacom. The only thing that was pending was them getting the IP addresses and advertised routes. They got that last week, so I don't know about an upgrade.
Okay, I can go back and verify. We've got the IPs. We had a conference call last week, and Nancy, he gave us the IPs over the phone at that point, didn't he?
He did, and I think what she's referencing is that they had to order firewalls, and they were concerned about obtaining them because they're coming from Canada.
Yeah, no firewalls were ordered. They were giving us a quote for additional protection with FCCs, but none of that has been finalized or approved. So that was just additional firewall protection option, but we haven't opted to go with it yet. So that shouldn't be anything inhibiting our migration.
Oh, good.
Okay, then I can unyellow this.
Are they going to be SIP or PGM?
A SIP, correct?
Thanks.
I'm sorry, my call
SIP.
stopped, so I didn't hear what happened after I made my comment.
Robert, I think the only thing was that Kimberly asked whether you were SIP or PGM, and I think the answer is SIP.
Yes, we are SIP.
And then, so following State Patrol Alamosa is Grand Junction PD. We are still pending confirmation the power and the CPE power is available in the CPE IPs. I think we're still looking for those. Correct, Nancy?
Yes.
Yeah. But their install is scheduled for the 1st with pre-migration on the 7th and migration on the 14th.
Yep. Those are tentative. We're
then-
still waiting for confirmation.
Yeah.
And this is Jennifer, and we are working on getting that power installed on our end.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Do you know, Jennifer, if those dates look okay to you for now?
For now, yes.
Okay. And then we have Routt County. Everything is ready to go at Routt County. I don't think we're pending anything there. And the next one on the list is Vail. I think we're going to have to move Vail. but I'm holding off. And that one is strictly because they're in that kind of quarantine zone in the mountains right now. So if that goes away before the 9th and we can get a tech up there to do the install, we can probably keep the dates. But if things stay the way they are, I don't know that we can send anybody up there at this point. So Vail is the only one right now that's directly impacted, as far as I know.
Nancy, that's a CenturyLink decision. It's not a matter of the PSAP telling you you won't be allowed in. Is that correct?
Yeah, they haven't said they won't be allowed in. Yeah, and it's really a matter of coordinating with the other vendors and whether or not we have techs and vendors that, because everyone that's been to those counties is supposed to be in a 14-day quarantine.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm leaving it in the hopes that kind of mandatory 14-day quarantine, if you've been to those counties, has been lifted by then, but I'm not super optimistic right now.
Yeah, or if we can get some modification for, people that were engaged in critical infrastructure or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry, what was that? What was that last?
So the governor's guidance is to self-isolate if you've been in these counties for 14 days. So if we can get an exception to that for that guidance, if we can get some clarification on that guidance that says, this doesn't apply to folks that are doing work with appropriate social distancing precautions who are, involved in critical infrastructure. Something like that, that would help us move forward with this and actually, to be frank, other things that we need to be doing to keep the network up and running.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know for us, the migration to the ESInet is not considered critical, so CenturyLink won't currently be allowed into any of our buildings. But of course, if it's a break fix, if our current network is not working, that would of course be considered critical.
Mm-hmm.
So Bruce, you're telling me the next two, Littleton and South Metro, I should mark in red?
Yeah, you probably should, just in case.
Okay.
As well as Greenwood Village is also in lockdown.
Yeah, we don't need to actually get into anything about Littleton and South Metro.
That's right. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Well, however, as far as the other PSAPs go, because we are upgrading our CPE, Converge 1 will need to get in to do that piece of it, and they're not allowed in either unless it's a break fix.
Okay.
And while we're talking about that,
takes us about a month out. I don't know if you guys want to look at the rest of the schedule, or if I think the rest of the schedule right now is in question. But we're working through as best we can, and
I think
getting
as
whatever
far as
done we can do as we work through everything else.
On going any further in the schedule, are there any issues other than COVID-19? Are there any issues that you see already with some of those migrations, or is everything on track for them as far as you know?
Everything is on track and moving forward. The only one coming up, Clear Creek, I believe, is the West Tech PSAP. And we had talked about how we get these other CPE vendors kind of certified on the network. Our current plan is that getting this PSAP into a pre-migration state and basically putting the network up for them to test against. So obviously the earlier we can get that done, it gives that vendor more time to test and make sure that they're ready to go. And I know that was an open question that Kimberly and team, we needed to get a response back to you. But in talking with my team and the Entrado team, there isn't really a lab environment to test against, and we think this gives the best network for them to test against, that we know if it works in that pre-migration status, it's going to work in the once it's migrated as well. So that's our proposal.
Has that been
I think
communicated
right now
with
the only
West
one
Tech?
we've identified that would need to go through that is West Tech.
And has West Tech been informed of that? And
we've had some conversations. I don't think we've heard back from them, but we'll follow up again.
This is
there
Tom
anything?
at Clear Creek.
Go ahead.
So I haven't heard anything from Westel indicating that that this conversation had taken place. I think this could work for us, but I guess what I'd be interested in is how much time from pre-migration to migration would they have for testing?
I think we can be flexible on that. So the network could technically stay in a pre-migration status for a while. So I'd like to look at getting your install scheduled as early as we can, given everything else that's going on. Get your circuits in, the power and IPs verified, and the ESInet equipment installed so that we can get you to that point. And then we just need to work with you and Westel on how much time they think they need. And maybe we add a week to that for cushion.
Okay.
But there's no technical limit on how long you can be in pre-migration. It can stay there.
So I'll reach out to Westel and let them know this needs to be a priority from the time that we're at pre-migration.
Okay. Tell him hi. I worked with him a decade ago at Entrado.
As did I. This is Wes. I will also give Robin a quick call back to review what he and I have talked about previously on that. And if Clear Creek works good, then that's obviously a given for Gilpin and Blackhawk. And Clear Creek's back room is a terrific environment to do that. You've got so much room back there, et cetera. It pretty much would be set to go.
Yeah, it probably makes the most sense to test in our working environment anyway. The one piece that I've been challenged with at the moment is getting the electrical requirements because we're currently restricted on access. So I'll have to figure something out with that.
Okay.
Well, that all sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I
but
do
that's
have
the
a
only
question.
one looking ahead on the schedule that I wanted to talk about and make sure we were moving forward on, just so that we could have as much time as needed for that testing.
Okay. I did have a question on the testing in that environment. Is there anything that'll be missing that they won't be able to fully test Annie Alley, or will it operate as it will on the day of migration?
The Annie Alley links won't be moved, actually we could move them. We normally during pre-migration move the Annie Alley links, so we could move them if everything's going okay. But Annie Alley will work whether it's on the old links or the new one.
Okay.
Like you see with Broomfield Westminster, we haven't moved their links yet.
Okay. So that wouldn't be a critical piece in stopping on migration day for Annie Alley. Okay.
No.
Okay, I think
Kimberly said she had to drop off for the Verizon call, and I believe you had that as well, didn't you?
No, I did not have that. I should.
Okay. All right. Great. Sorry. Continue on.
Are there any other centers that are closed to access at this point that we need to be aware of? should we put a hold on circuit orders for upcoming migrations at this point?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's no sense in you dispatching your techs out if they're going to be refused.
I think we had 2 for June that were getting issued probably this week. And then probably a month before we do the July orders. But it'd be Federal Heights and Grand County.
Okay.
And Clear Creek.
I have a chat message from Chris Lyman saying that Federal Heights is on lockdown and only accessible for repairs.
Okay. Are we okay to go ahead with the Clear Creek circuit orders for now?
So is that going to require access to the building?
They've got to get to the DMARC.
Okay, didn't they I thought that was completed.
Was it?
Yeah.
Nancy, can you tell me if Clear Creek was?
I thought it was too.
Okay.
I'm looking, hang on.
And by the way, on their Clear Creek back room, don't you, if I recall, it's been a while, and of course, my memory's getting a little feeble nowadays, it seems like, but don't you have electrical outlets coming out of the ceiling of that thing already?
So we do, but they're not twist lock. So everything's coming out of the ceiling. They're all separate circuits on separate breakers. We're good as far as all of that, but I need to get 2
convert it to twist lock.
Exactly, and yep. So the electrician's going to need to come in for that. I think we can probably figure something out. I'll need to check with my admin and figure out access, but that's probably not well. It's really up to when you think those circuits need to be in place to get when equipment is going to start arriving.
Got it.
Clear Creek circuits were installed March 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we should be good to keep moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, so the only thing we need access to coming up would be those circuits probably. Do they need extended, Nancy?
Oh, let me double check.
Sorry.
I'm sorry? What was
Just
the
checking
question?
to see if those circuits need extended or if they're...
Yeah, so I believe they're going to have to be do the cable run from there into our server room. So that's on us.
Yeah. So the only thing we would need to get somebody into your building for, if you're doing the circuit extension, is the actual equipment install for the ESInet equipment.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
We're potentially looking, what, late May?
Hang on. I think they just sent out some proposed dates this morning. Well, last night, actually. Yeah, probably that name. We don't have any proposed dates right now. So if there's any dates you'd like to propose.
I don't have anything in mind, but you want to shoot for the 15th? Which is,
I can ask her.
That's a Friday.
May 15th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready to move into the discussion items? Daryl, would you be able to display that? I'll try to update it. I'm not my multitasking capabilities have diminished severely since I quit dispatching. But I will try to speak and to type. Awesome, and I think you've got it filtered, don't you, Daryl? Okay, so the first item was regarding the firewalls, and I think Daryl was trying to coordinate an ESInet security, probably web conference. Daryl, do you have any update on that? Are you there?
Sorry, I was on mute. Later today, I will reach out to Jerry Eastman with CIAC and invite him to next month's full call. I know they're extremely busy right now. OIT is trying to convert several thousand employees to work at home only, so they're up to their eyeballs. But hopefully he can commit to something a month out, so hopefully we can get him on next month's full ESInet call.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I know we are installing 2 firewalls on the CPE side at each site when we're doing the CPE. And I believe that's what I've seen with others as well.
That's good, because when I talked to him, that is what he was suggesting, is that however many firewalls the ESInet has on the CenturyLink side of the DMARC, that's what the PSAP needs to have on their side of the DMARC.
So Nancy, would you be installing in a geodiverse environment? Would it be a firewall at each server site?
It's Cindy. No, we did, like Weld
sorry.
County, we got 2 at the main center and 2 at the backup center.
So some manufacturers, some vendors are doing 1 on each location. And I guess I don't know how else to really control it, but we follow the vendor's recommendation.
The CPE vendor?
Yes.
So, for instance, in a Viper environment, what is that recommendation?
2 firewalls each location.
Okay.
And I've only had 1 so far that, and now we're just starting to implement ours, but one of them, Motorola sites, the Vesta sites, we've only done 1 so far, and not a complete migration. We just a pre-migration testing, and they had 1 on each location, and that was the recommendation from Motorola. So we haven't done any of ours yet. So I'm not. I haven't had to struggle through that yet.
Okay. All right.
But so far, they're the only ones that have done that. And we heard one PSAP on this call today. They're going to do SBCs instead of firewalls. Or maybe it's not a final decision.
Okay, so regarding the testing of the CPE equipment for Westel, I think we've got that conversation going well. How about Solacom? And CallWorks, it looks like, is on the list as well.
Those have already tested on the Entrado, CenturyLink, ESInet in other states. So we don't think they need to go through this.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And any update, Cindy, on the PAD devices regarding the remote PSAPs in a hosted environment?
It's in contractual process. We were able to get our hands on the contract and the group working through it. Kevin, have you heard any more from them?
Kevin, I think you're
right
on mute
now,
if you're talking.
Pending some there's an amendment to the contract between us and Intrado that supports this solution, and we just need to get that completed.
I can respond unmuted this time. So I did send out. We've been having some emails going back and forth, but I've responded to them on Monday. I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and I just haven't heard back from them.
Okay, thanks. So in the past, we've discussed on a number of occasions techs arriving with no notice to the PSAP. I think in today's environment especially, that's going to be even more important that that conversation takes place. In the past, they've been turned away just because they didn't know they were coming. Today, they may be turned away because they didn't know they were coming or because of lockdowns. So we definitely need to tighten up those arrangements before a tech is dispatched because we're just wasting their time if not.
Yeah, we'll continue to emphasize that. And Nancy and Kevin, maybe we need to get a message out to the managers of these groups to make sure they understand that a lot of these centers are on lockdown and won't allow access.
Agreed. Agreed, Cindy.
Okay, great. Yeah. If you guys can help me figure out who the managers are for everyone, we can get that recommunicated to them.
This is Daryl. Yesterday I sent out a letter that I had received from Wes Horn showing it was from CISA giving exception to CenturyLink techs that were traveling for critical infrastructure business. But really that letter is for giving them exception to travel restrictions and shelter-in-place orders. So I don't know that it really will have an effect on whether or not PSAPs let them in the door. I know that, from what Bruce has told me, your PSAPs are really locked down to anything other than break fixes.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, not just the PSAP, but the entire facility. So they can't get to the demarcs even. Okay, so it looks like the next two have been dealt with. This was my question. I had our CPE vendor go through our system and look for any 2-digit star codes, which I believe was a problem for, was that Aurora that had some 2-digit star codes that weren't working because the system doesn't support them, and we went to 3-digit years ago. In my system, I found a few. Star 42 was one of them, which goes to CSP Denver, which does not have 911 trunk. So I've yet to figure out how that works, but I don't know that it really matters. We will program in for that speed dial the 10-digit number for CSP Denver and discontinue use of Star 42.
Yeah, I've been working with the Intrado group on that, and I believe that that's probably how it's already sending it to us, is with the 10-digit number. But I was trying to get confirmation. But essentially, yes, the new 3-digit star codes use 911 trunks through the selector router. So we can't build one for anyone that doesn't have 911 trunks. But you can build shortcuts with your CPE vector as long as what they're sending to CenturyLink is the 10-digit number we need to send the call to.
There's also a couple of, I don't know that it was answered. I can't remember that it was. In our system, we have star 554 for South Metro, but it's not on the star code list. South Metro is listed as star 560. Is star 554 the old Littleton Fire star code? We didn't force people to change when we closed Littleton Fire. We didn't force people to change their star code. We just had it translated to the 911 trunks at South Metro. So I'm assuming that's the issue, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah, my translation confirmed that both were valid for that PSAP.
Okay.
There was a question on the chat window. Where can they get the star codes?
I believe we have those listed on the website, don't we, Daryl?
Yeah.
I believe we do too. Let me double check.
Okay.
I think that's under resources.
It's up and about the fourth one down.
There it is. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one modification to that is going to be the phone numbers on those eventually. The new ESInet does not have a dialable phone number. If anybody's been plagued by telemarketers who happen to hit the test numbers, the new ESInet will not have a dialable phone number.
Oh, that'll be nice.
That's good.
That number with our translations will work for routing, but yeah, you can't dial it and get anywhere.
That's great.
Great.
And to respond to Matt's comment, we could have made those dialable numbers, but we chose not to. There's still a number associated with them. It's just a 200 number that can't be dialed.
Okay.
And as Kevin mentioned in other PSAPs, long distance no longer really matters.
Okay, so there will, if we're crossing a LATA on a transfer or something like that, we'll no longer receive that that very small long distance bill?
Correct.
Nope.
Oh, great. I'm glad I won't be paying 16-cent bills anymore.
On occasion, they can be high, but usually, you're right, they're not much, but you'd hate to go into credit foreclosure type thing because of a 16-cent bill that you overlooked.
Well, and I think for some PSAPs that are on the edge of a particular LATA, they're probably seeing higher bills than I am, but where we transfer to is seldom long distance.
Yeah, Weld County.
We actually have we have a question about that for transferring out of state. This is Matt Montrose. Have you guys considered that it's going to work?
Is that the question? Is how do you transfer out of state?
Yeah, we've had situations where we've had to transfer to Utah.
Yes, you can do that. You will be able to transfer out of state on a 10-digit number.
Fantastic.
So it's only 10-digit.
Yeah. Well, you have to dial a 1.
Okay, so how are you going to handle the long distance connectivity then? And
it's
charging for it?
We're not charging for it.
Fantastic.
Daryl, you're recording, right? You got that?
Yes. and I do believe I do believe that some of the the counties bordering Utah do tend to have some higher long distance charges because of those transfers. So that's good news.
On the good side, we're not bordering a country like in Arizona. So there's no that's not we don't have to worry about international.
That's helpful.
Well, and plus Utah is also a CenturyLink state, so that probably helps.
Okay, so that takes us through the discussion items. Hang on, my little control bar at the bottom just covered my agenda. Okay, so we will now open this discussion to any voting members or CenturyLink or the PUC regarding any items that need to be addressed that are new to the conversation.
So this is Daryl. Obviously, we've already talked some about the coronavirus effect on our migration schedule, and I don't expect CenturyLink to be able to give us definitive answers at this point because nobody has definitive answers as this keeps evolving. I do want to let you know that we have until March of 2022 to submit all of our reimbursement requests to the federal government for the 911 grant. So that is a consideration that we'll want to keep in mind. Obviously, our current migration schedule is due to be completed by February of 2021, so we're in really good shape there if we believed that we're going to be able to keep that migration schedule. And I think it's, I'll let CenturyLink decide whether or not that's likely. As of right now, I have not heard from CenturyLink that they're going to be pushing back the end of that migration schedule, but if this goes on for a matter of several months, I think that's probably likely. I have been in communication with NASNA to ask them to engage with the National 911 Office and NTIA to see if there will be a possibility, if it's necessary, to push that deadline back. It will either take an act of Congress, because unfortunately that was written into the law, or it'll take an executive order to override that. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we won't come to that anyway, but I want to let you guys know that I am engaging the right people to have that discussion at least keyed up in case it becomes necessary.
Great, thank you. Any comments from or questions from CenturyLink regarding that piece of it at the end of the schedule?
I would just say, I mean, it's a fluid situation. We're hoping to keep the end date of the schedule what it is, but things are changing hour by hour, and we're just going to have to be fluid and adjust and do what we can.
And with PSAP, and I was just going to say, with PSAP lockdowns, obviously there's part of this that's well out of your control, although we were already having some delays before all of this really escalated in the United States. But certainly, the coronavirus isn't helping the matters.
Yeah.
My view is that all schedules and deadlines are going to be fluid over the next foreseeable future, right? So, in the event, I think it's probably an unlikely event that we would stretch past that deadline, 2022, that you indicated, Daryl. I would imagine that there would, if that's caused by this crisis, there will be allowances and executive orders or whatever it is that allow for that to happen. That's my guess, but everything's going to be fluid for a while, and we'll have to see.
And this is Jeff with a question for Wes and or Kevin. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
So
yes.
We have at least one ECC PSAP that will have some circuits that will be abandoned after the ESInet migration is complete, i.e. JeffCom. How long should we let the ESInet burn in before we initiate that? And the second question is, we've got a couple that are nearly completed. How soon will we expect billing, like for Broomfield, Westminster, or is there any way of telling at this point?
Can you address that, Wes Horn? I can't tell if he's still on.
Yeah. Wes, are you on mute?
Can you all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the billing part, that should be coming out in a couple of weeks. Internally, we had to look at all the formatting and that sort of thing, and I think that's going to be cleared April 9th to go out. And so for that part of the question. As far as the DISCO, the other services, I think it shouldn't take long. We'll know, of course, right away when the ESInet goes in that we could disco the other ones, but we will have to take a look at what you and I talked about, since you have special circuits going into your situation now. I don't think it'll be an
I mean, I think generally we've been recommending about 30 days before we rush in, just in case something happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Daryl, for you, assuming that billing is going to be coming out, for instance, we have 3 PSAPs. Should we hold it all and submit it together rather than, doling it out as it's received?
I would appreciate that. Obviously, if there's places in the state where an agency can't wait that long to get reimbursement, I understand, but it'll help the process if you can hold them and send them all at the same time.
Great, thanks.
On that issue, I have a question probably for Wes. Does the 6-month moratorium, are you considering that to start when the first bill comes for the non-recurring costs?
On the project management piece?
So when you submit the bill for the NRC and project management fees, is that when the 6-month moratorium on monthly recurring charges also starts?
Well, yes. The 6-month moratorium, as soon as the system cuts over, if I understand your question there.
If that's the case, does that mean that Aurora has already started their moratorium?
Yes. Although they haven't received a bill yet, we're trying to get that out as well.
Okay.
That would be the start date.
All right.
As well as Brett's would fall into that category too.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? So last week, I believe, and it didn't get captured in the discussion items, so I don't know who it was. I believe that a circuit had been installed at one of the sites, and CenturyLink was billing for that before they had actually been migrated. I can't remember if it was last Wednesday's call or last Friday's call that was discussed.
I believe that was Friday, and I believe it was Pitkin County. Is Brett Loeb on the call? I don't see him.
So Cindy, Nancy, if it was Friday, you were on the call. Do you recall this conversation? You were on the call. Do you recall the conversation?
I don't.
What?
Nancy, do you remember anything?
Not offhand, no.
It might have also been the pre-meeting call last Wednesday.
Yeah, so since Cindy and Nancy don't remember it, it probably was, but we didn't capture who that was. So if anybody remembers what site that might have been, it'd be great if we could get that captured.
Can you run that by again, Bruce? What happened again now? This is news to me.
So a PSAP had, we believe what happened was that the circuit had been installed, but they had not been migrated yet, and they were starting to receive billing for the service.
I don't think we've issued any bills for the service to this point, and the circuits are all CenturyLink circuits, so they shouldn't have been built for the circuit either. So if you have the information on who it was, we can certainly try and track that down.
Daryl, did we record those?
Yeah.
The only one it could be would be Aurora, Bruce, and and I'm pretty sure that hasn't gone out unless they snuck that out without my visibility on it.
So this is Daryl. My brain is telling me, my brain is frequently wrong, but my brain is telling me that it's Pitkin County, and they're not on the call today. So I will reach out to Brett Loeb and see if it was him. I think what he was saying is, what may have happened is that the circuit was ordered for this installation, but when the order went in, it created a new service in your system that they then received the bill for, even though it should be billed as part of the ESInet, the tariff ESInet service, not as a separate circuit.
Like they're being billed for
Pitkin
that.
County it's not even on the radar screen yet for anything. Correct, Nancy? I mean, that's so far down the road.
Yeah, we haven't issued any. We haven't installed
there's
any
nothing going on
yet.
there. No. So, not. This doesn't ring a bell.
Like I said, my memory may be incorrect, but we did record that, so I can go back to the recording and listen.
Okay. All right. We'll get that captured in the discussion items so we can have you guys look into that. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. I don't know, but I don't recall it being Pitkin County. I don't think Pitkin has been on any of these calls yet.
No, they're not on the radar screen at all. They're so far down the road, we haven't touched them.
I just
I think it was someone else.
All right, I'll see if I can figure out who it
continue to
was.
work on that. Okay.
Yep.
I will go ahead and add something to the discussion items, but it won't. It'll just be a to-do by Daryl to see if he can find it in that call.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like, do we have any other discussion that needs to come from voting members of the committee? Hearing nothing, we will move this to public comment. Is there anybody on the line that is not a voting member that would like to make a statement or ask a question? Okay, hearing nothing, I think we are ready to adjourn unless someone wants to hurry up and unmute and say something.
Everybody stay safe, okay?
Yeah, stay safe, stay healthy.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.